My name is Petrit Halijaj. The project here is called RU, and actually it's my first solo show in the United States, made in two, let's say, parts. The first part is a new video installation that comes from a place quite far from here, but very familiar to me from now, and down in Kosovo, where also I grew up. And the film has a lot of neighbors and friends that I know since always. But what I didn't know until 6 years ago is that we live on top of this Neolithic civilization, which dates 7,000 years from now, but that all what was found in this 10 by 20 hole from the archaeologues, it was taken away and in an institutional way, let's say, never came back as a feedback of what this all was. And by taking out all these objects and never coming back as an information of what it was, this leads to a lot of space for imagination and for inventing of what could this civilization be, and this leads to a lot of mythology that kind of is part of the everyday life and reality in Runic. And although it's very strong, that's why I didn't know anything until 6 years ago, because it's a very intimate and fragile reality which lives more in houses than it's written or so. 505 objects that we have inside here in a shape of what was the objects and like that I recreated from the images that I found. In different catalogs, books, archives, and private archives of archaeologues that they stole themselves from different museums and so. And what I found out that there was impossible to put all this collection together today. So like, to me, like there were these two very far realities. The institutional part, which is completely absent, and the other part is what I discovered with my neighbors, that like a part of the facts of what you see in the film, you can see what they find in their gardens, because a majority of things that we hear from the stories, you never got to see them as an object. So for me it became, like in this last 4 years, I couldn't stop going back to Runic and really filming neighbor after neighbor, home after home. Like you know, like this, the way, why we live on top of this civilization is that with the loss of control of Yugoslavia and the new beginning of Kosovo as an independent state after the war, all this transition, the priorities were so different from what would be that a museum would take care of a site, or what would be maybe a cultural heritage, or taking care of a cultural goods that they already have. They were so different, the priorities changed so much from this that people could build freely on top. And that's what happened, that people that need really to have houses and primary needs of life, they continued to build. And now 2/3 of the village live on top of another, let's say, civilization. So it's just this kind of surface of earth that divides the under and on top, and where real life and imagination and fiction, let's say, almost loses its borders in a very beautiful way. And I was really inspired by that. Like, what I try to do is work in two ways in the same time. One is with the space as an entire, and work in site-specific, meaning letting, and the other one is the objects. And for me, all the objects, it was very important that you can see them as they were, so as a pot, but also as a bird. As the space, you could see it as a museum, but also as a landscape where these birds would feel kind of comfortable to land and to be and to live here. And it's up to the public to kind of navigate through the space and kind of find them and find all these kind of love stories, or flirting, or hiding, or watching to each other, or watching to the space. So yeah, that's the show. Voilà.